It's December. Welcome to Brian Breaks Character. I am so glad you're here. As we move into this final month of the year, I can't believe it's here. I don't know how you feel about it. I'm excited for the new year that is ahead. I am committed to creating a space where next year, this community and the work that we do can really attract abundance. And setting up the systems to do that. We've got some really special episodes coming up later this month that are related to that. So be sure to subscribe if you're not already, because we got some special stuff lined up that's going to help you set the stage for what you want in 2023 and also take stock of what has happened in 2022. I believe you can't build on success you haven't acknowledged. And so we've got that episode coming up. But in the theme of abundance and growth, as we're rounding out the end of this year, I am really excited to bring to you today Laura Niemi. Now, Laura is an actress that I've known for quite a while. She's a native Angelino, and those are rare enough. And I worked with her years ago, and then she came back to me at a very tricky spot in her career. She was thinking, it's time for me to make a change with my representation. And for any of you who have been challenged around, do I need to get new reps? Do I need to change my reps? Are we the perfect match? Is it going well? This is a conversation that I have so often with my actors. And I know that the reason why this conversation is tricky is because we all feel tremendous loyalty to these people who are champions of your career. And yet once in a while, we have to acknowledge that sometimes it's not a match. And so even at the stature that Laura has established in her career, she's been on This Is Us. She is the artistic director of the Lost Angels Theater Company. She was on Stranger Things on Netflix. In her most recent credit, I will just share with her, this is with her new representation, is she played Steve Carell's wife on The Patient on Hulu. And if you haven't seen this, it was presented by FX. It's an incredible show. It's a contained series, so it's a one-season show. And she reveals in this episode her story of getting that role and how it came to be. And there's a whole masterclass in that part of this episode today. But what I really want you to listen for is, I think, a lot of actors will believe, once I've reached a certain level in my career, everything's going to look a certain way. It's all going to be hunky dory, or it's going to be easier for me to make these decisions. And even where Laura was, this was a thoughtful decision that she had to make, and to go through reaching out to new representation in her very thoughtful way. Now, I will just share with you right away, she got 50 meetings with new agents and managers. And she did this through using my program Agent Goals, but this conversation is really focused on where she needed to go to make this happen and attract in what she really believed would be the perfect match. And of course, it's littered with a bunch of really great stories about booking jobs and how she got to there in the level that she's at in her career. So I know that you're going to fall in love with Laura. So Laura, welcome to the show. So glad you're here.
Hello, Brian Bataka.
Oh, yay.
Yay, yay.
Laura, first of all, I want to compliment you because you're one of the actors that I think of when and actors that I've worked with in the decades that I've worked with actors, you're one of the actors that I think of who is booking at a high level and is still very honest about, this is an ebb and flow. This is a roller coaster. I'm not afraid to tell you that just because on the outside things may look like I'm just popping along. Like, I'm not afraid to say that I go through the same shit everyone goes through in my mind, in my way I feel about my reps and all that stuff. So I just really appreciate your willingness to come on the podcast and be honest about that. And also just,
Absolutely.
and I want to champion you in life for being that person as well, because I think that is such the real authenticity of who you are, and also probably why you book all the time, because I think you are it's a good vibe to be around Laura Niemi. I can say you feel really great and you
Oh
feel seen when you're
man,
around us. So I want to say that.
I
Start
feel
there.
the same. I feel the same about you. Wow.
Thanks, Laura.
Thanks.
So Laura,
Thanks.
you've had a really big year. So let's
Yes.
start there. Will you tell us a little bit about this year? And I know that this starts with reps, but can you walk us into even your decision around, it's time to look for reps. Can you take us into that moment?
Oh my God. Okay. Lots of fear. Lots of fear behind it. I will say, being totally transparent, I did have a few things on the table that I knew would be little carrots dangling, which was that
Mhm.
This Is Us and Stranger Things, and I just finished a movie with Taylor Sheridan. So I had some things to share, but I'm not 20. And
Mm,
so, the fear was real, and um, the fear to get good reps
right.
was real. I mean, my old go-to was these 10 top reps, and those are the ones that I'm gonna, it's like, oh my God, where's
Wait,
my
I love
prep
how you're, oh
now?
my God, this, because this used to be like the way. This used to be, so wait.
I know, but I laugh. I can't believe how small that was. And anyway,
Yeah.
so so when I finally got brave to, and I'm a firm believer in, you let your reps go before you get new
Right.
reps. I mean, I know some people, they are on the prowl before they end that relationship. But I think the way you start something is, it's got to be
It's
clean.
important.
Otherwise, it's never going to be
Yeah.
clean. It's like cheating on a boyfriend.
Yeah.
So um
And wait,
plus
so
this
take us
town.
back. I'm gonna take you back here a minute because I think that it's so
Okay.
important. And I think what you're about to
Okay.
say is the town is so small, everyone will.
It is.
Yes,
People
everyone will see
here,
you
they
cheating anyway,
know,
right? Yes,
man.
yeah. But and so I think because a lot of actors are challenged too, because you had a career that was bopping along, but you knew something wasn't right with your reps, and I think a lot of actors will get very scared to make a change, will be
Yeah.
very afraid to, like, can I look while I still have them, which you just described a little bit, your own take on that. I want to
Right.
just be very clear that I fall on the same side of what Laura just said, which is
Yeah.
I believe that you are in such better stead, you're in much better stance, you're much more attractive when you have left and are opening yourself up to something else, because you make space for something else. You are having an integrity when you're leaving this person. You're having integrity when you're having conversations with other people. And so there's just a really beautiful gift around that. But that doesn't, I mean, I think you show up as the gift when you have that moment, when you take that space to do that. But I think what you're saying also is uh like the decision to leave is not an easy one. It's not an
No.
easy one to do that, right? And um you have a really cool stance on how you believe reps in this business. Can you share a little bit
I
about that?
do. Look, if you're in this business, you're a worker bee, man. You have to be. You won't sustain a minute, being
Right.
in this business. And so, mad props to all the reps that are out there that are able to make a living in this business. So I have a respect for any reps. I mean, obviously there's some that are, yeah, some maybe not so much, but anybody in the business who's still in this business, it's a hard one. So um so I have more empathy, and I think that's
Yeah.
also comes with age. As you get older, you have a little more empathy. It's like, oh God, you're still here. This is amazing.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I love what you said.
so
You taught me this, Laura. You said this, and I love when you said this. You said, reps here know hella more than we do. They hear
yeah,
no again and again, and they get up every day and go back to their office and do that work. And I just think that is, I mean, everyone, if you're listening right now, you got your money's worth at about 5 minutes in, because I think that is
yeah,
really worth having a good perspective on this. Because I think it can be easy to reduce reps into ATM machines, audition transaction
yeah,
machines,
yeah. And
right?
they hear no, yeah, exactly. I mean, I could never be an agent or a manager. I mean, I would be depressed by noon. You know what I mean?
Oh God, yes. I heard
So
you say that.
so mad props to them. And
Yeah.
so, when it was time to let my rep go, which I have to say in hindsight, I realized that we were never supposed to be together. I had a lot of, I wasn't listening to that instinct when I first got with that manager. It was a
Mhm.
fear based decision. But it's part of my journey, and I needed it to get to where I am now, which
Yeah.
is a team that I freaking love. And
Yeah.
that when the phone rings, I don't look at my phone and go, ugh,
Oh
like I
my
got to
God, so
talk
many
to this
people just were
person.
like, so many
Oh
people
my
just
God.
felt
You know what I'm
seen just
talking
now. You
about.
just, yes.
Like, you go, oh, I got to talk to this person. Should I let it go to voicemail and just like pretend I'm real busy? Whatever,
Yeah.
whatever. Anyway, so, you know, I, I had to take that leap of faith, and it is a leap of
Yeah.
faith. And I had to
Yeah.
have that mantra in my head, which only comes, I will say, from longevity in this career, is that you're the best agent. I'm my
Mhm.
best agent. You
And
know what I
always
mean?
will be.
And
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 always
always
will
will
be.
be. That's right. And so no matter what happens, no matter if I have no reps or whatever, my resume has proved that I have gotten most of those bookings from relationships that I have, honed in on, and I have, you know, communed with. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
these
yeah,
were
yeah,
my
yeah.
relationships of people that I adore. So yes, reps have helped along the way, but that's not to say that I don't, we agent ourselves the
Yes.
best. So so when it was time to get a new team, I wanted to get, I was pretty clear that I wanted to get an agent and a manager
So you
because
cleaned
I
house,
believe
and
I did. I
you only had
cleaned
a manager,
house.
but you're like, and now, so I just want everyone to
I,
imagine this. I want everyone just to take a second here. You're booking along, things are going well. You even have something that's about to come out, and you're like, and now I'm going to be agentless or managerless for a moment
yeah.
because I talk to who are so afraid of that moment, and I always say, do you really have one right now? Like you're already having an intuition of like it's not actually happening right now. So like
Well, and
really take a
everybody's
moment.
sphere is different because I have to say, a lot of people are like, well, you had something to share.
Hmm,
Yeah, but I'm not 20. You know what I mean? Everybody has their own fear. I hear that
right.
all the time. It's like I have a friend, I want them to do this agent goals, and she's like, "Well, I have nothing to share right now. I don't have a sexy
You're
booking.
like Brian doesn't want you to have anything.
I only booked this other thing." And I'm like, "Your resume is insane." You know what I mean? So but that was my huge fear was I'm too old. I'm not gonna get anybody worth anything because I'm too old, whatever.
Got it.
Anyway, so come time to
And you
do
did,
it.
yeah, and you
Go
did do
ahead.
agent goals. So we're very transparent with everyone. So Laura did do agent goals, but I'm really wanting you to, as you're listening to this, not to focus on Laura's wherewithal of how she went through the process, because I think that's going to be the most inspiring thing to anyone listening who's thinking about new reps or making a change. And again, being in the position that you were in terms of your resume, how that affected some of the decisions you make and how it's the same for everybody. That's what I want
Yeah.
everyone to kind of listen for
Yeah.
right now. So
No, for
walk us through a
sure.
little bit of that. Talk us through, how you landed this new team.
So, well, I did agent goals. I mean, I can refer everything back to agent goals. I mean, I'm like your best salesperson, even though I don't want to like do the hard sell, but it's true. Everything that has happened this past year and a half has been a result from this outrageously talented team that I have.
Mm.
It's outrageous. I mean, I'm the same actor I was last year. I mean, I like to think I'm a little better, you know what I mean? But you know what I mean? It's like it's incredible when you have the right people who get you. So I remember, I was thinking about telling you a story, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to tell it. So I start your course, and I don't know if you remember this. I'm sure you do.
I'm sure. Go ahead.
I wouldn't even be on camera. You do these
Oh,
webinars. I wouldn't
yes.
even be on camera, and I wouldn't even put my name in there. My ego was so big that I was like, I don't belong here.
Oh.
I'm better than this. You
Uh,
know what? I'm just going to see if this works for me. But I
mm.
mean, I've been in this business for a long time. I love Brian. He has great thoughts about things, but just my ego was just choking me. It was just
Oh God.
choking me. And
Yes.
I couldn't even have my peers looking at me knowing that I was repless. Here, you know
Oh
what I
Lord, we're
mean?
so the same. Wait, did I ever? I'm going to tell you the story because I don't think I've ever told you the story. When I first came to LA and I was acting, I was like, okay, let me get a manager, and I could not click send on my email because I didn't want because I was reaching out for referrals, which I
Yeah.
don't believe in, by the way, whatever. But I remember like I couldn't click send on asking for referrals because I didn't want anyone to know that I needed a manager. I was trying to hide. Like it was so the backwards thinking of like, hello, how are you ever if you're gonna pretend you already have it's anyway. Go
Well,
ahead.
and also nobody does this business alone. Nobody
No,
does this business alone. There's always everybody has their few people who have helped them along the way. And if
mhm.
they don't think they have, they need to check themselves before they wreck themselves because they do. We all do. We all have those people who kind of gave us that little thing that kind of got us to the next
Yes.
level when we were like, I'm done, I'm finished, I'm out.
Mhm.
Anyway, so
Anyway.
I got in with a group of my little group, of course, Sarah.
Oh,
Sarah
you had
was
your
in my
accountability
group,
group, right? You had your
my
accountability group.
accountability group.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
And
And Sarah, who's also been on
um
this podcast, y'all. Sarah's
and
Otterbox episode. We'll link to it in the
is
show notes, but
amazing. It's an
it's
amazing
amazing.
episode. She did an
She
incredible job. She
she
crushed it.
does she goes so
Uh,
deep into this. Yeah, yeah.
and she's still one of my closest friends now. We see each other at least twice a week. And we tape each other, and she's just been amazing. Amazing part of my journey as an actor. Um, And so I started the agent goals, and I started doing the stuff that you had asked to do, the inner work, which was like, oh God, really telling my story? Oh my God. I mean, I was so not like, finally I got really honest, and I told my
Mm,
story to my accountability people. And I moved along
yeah.
through this process like you had suggested. And I got a lot of, when I did my emails, I got a lot of feedback,
Yeah.
a lot of people coming back at me. Again,
Yeah.
I had some things to share, but for me, it was like, if it's not so-and-so and so-and-so, it doesn't count. These are
Oh.
just low-picking fruit. Please, please,
Mm,
please.
mm.
And then slowly and gradually, the emails started coming in, and I started meeting these people. I'm like, oh my God, they're amazing. These are amazing agents. These are
Wow.
amazing managers. Holy moly. Like, how did
Wow.
I not know who they were?
Wait, and so
These
Laura,
are
what I want to make sure
amazing
everyone's
people.
hearing this, because what Laura's saying is my old way of doing this was I would have made a list of the 10 people that I think are perfect for me. And I
That's
would
right.
have written off anybody who I didn't know. And all of
That's
a
right.
sudden, these incredible people revealed themselves to you because you were like, I'm going to do it Brian's way, even though I don't necessarily know if I believe this yet, which is
Yeah.
great. I love when someone says it, and I'll do it anyway. I love it and I'll do it anyway. Because I say, like, listen, if you follow the steps, there will be a chocolate cake at the end. You do not have to believe there'll be a chocolate cake, but I promise you there will be a chocolate cake.
Oh,
And I just
please.
love
Yeah.
to get
No,
over
for
your
sure.
great, great, beautiful.
Oh,
Beautiful.
yeah. No. And so I just started taking these meetings, and I remember a change came over me, and I had met with a lot of people that
Wait,
I
do you
really
have any
loved.
numbers, Laura? Do you remember how many meetings you took or offers you got or any of that information?
God, I don't
You
know,
can
maybe
ballpark us.
50. I
Oh,
mean, I don't
shut
know.
up.
Yeah, a lot,
Did you
a
say
lot
yes
of
to every
people.
single meeting or did you turn some down?
No,
Okay. Okay.
I honestly, because I just was like,
That's too
at a
many.
certain point, it got a lot because I was trying to take these meetings and whatnot, and I got Zoom fatigue at the end of, like,
Yeah.
30. It's like, that's a
Yes.
lot. But I tried to
Yeah.
meet all the people, even the ones that I was like, oh my God, I'm meeting with these, whatever. I tried to put my ego aside, just
I
meet them.
love
And I
it.
gotta tell you, they were all amazing. Every single one of them was amazing.
Well, so wait, Laura,
And
I want to
so,
stop right here because I'm sorry to keep stopping you because I want to just slow down time to make sure people don't miss this. I think
okay,
something comes out of this, and you tell me if I'm wrong, because my suspicion is when you meet with those people, even if you know they're probably not a match, you're meeting with someone who you know has the job to do, whether you think they're good at it or not or whatever, that
right,
they are on that side of the desk. And so for the first time, not the first time, but multiple, you're hearing from someone on the other side of the desk, their own take on what you've got going on. And I think there's something
right.
about that puts wind in your sails, regardless if they become your person. That's my
Oh, for
story that
sure.
I tell. Is that what it was like for you, or was something different?
Oh, absolutely. I was shocked. I didn't even think I'd get one response. So I was absolutely shocked.
Got it.
I was
Yeah.
I was gobsmacked. I really was gobsmacked. And when they kept coming in, I was like, "Oh my God. Oh my God, this is
Oh, it's awesome.
amazing."
Awesome. Good.
So, as I say that, I don't want people to hear that in a way that's like, because even if you get two or three
Yes,
people, it doesn't
totally.
matter. Here's the thing, your
You
person,
only need one. You only need
you
one.
only need
Yes.
one.
Yeah.
That's right,
I say it
man. You
over and
only
over again.
need
You only
one.
need one. Yeah.
You only need one. So anyway, the confidence came, started
Yeah.
started rearing up, which was really wonderful. And I wanted to do a second meeting with some of these people because I had like these amazing people.
So, in terms of taking all these meetings and getting all these meetings, you said you had 50 meetings. I know you turned some down, but I have a hunch around what this does for the actor, and I want to see if this is right, or you can run me through your filters of what
Right,
actually
right,
happened.
right. Yeah.
Which is that when you go to this many meetings, whether or not you're even when you're like, I'm definitely not working with this person, there is something that happens when you're talking to the person who's on the other side of the desk, who you know is submitting every day, and they're giving you feedback or response to where you are in the business in a way you don't get to hear that often. Like, even if
That's right.
no matter where you are, you don't get to hear that often. And to me, that does something to you that like gives you this confidence. I know Sarah even talks about how it was like almost overwhelmingly for her. She's like, so many people saying, I got this and it's going to happen, was almost overwhelming. But I think that confidence makes it so much easier, I believe, to make a decision or to say yes at some point, because like I am wanted is a new feeling, I think.
Yeah, for sure. But there was also, I'd also been really jaded. I'd also gotten very jaded in this business. So it was like, I had a lot of people that I thought were great, but I was I just was like, oh my God, I got to do this again. This is crazy, and there's a leap of faith that you have to make, and so I called one of my friends and I said, hey, have you ever asked for a second meeting? And she said, oh, absolutely. I asked for a second meeting.
Right.
And I was like too afraid to ask for a second meeting because I was afraid they'd say no. And then I thought to myself, if they say no in the beginning for a second meeting, if they don't have energy behind a second meeting, they don't have it at the beginning, they ain't gonna have it in 3 months. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and also, the first question, the first meet and greets you do are very surface stuff. You know what I mean? You try and get deep, but how deep can you get in a Zoom for,
Totally.
30 minutes or whatever the thing is? I had more questions that I needed to ask before I took a leap of faith. And so.
And I also think, Laura, just to help anyone who's listening, remember, Laura's getting a buttload of meetings, right? And so it's natural that she'll be like, great, I have to sift through what I've heard. And I'm sure that you're able to say I'm sure that this agent or manager you're meeting with knows, like, well, obviously you're getting a lot of attention right now, that like, they have to understand that you're trying to make a great decision. So I just want to like advocate for the what might feel like bravery and courage to you, like asking for the second meeting is totally normal. A lot of times it might be like, well, let's do a phone call, or like, it doesn't have to be a significant event in the week, but
and again, I just have to acknowledge, even if I had not one booking to capitalize on in these meetings, I would have done it anyway. I finally was at that place where it was like I had gotten the confidence to say, I mean, the truth is, you teach people how you want them to
100%, yes,
deal with you in business. And if you're coming in this business like in your CEO, seat, it's like, oh, that just screams money. At least it does to me. To me, it does.
I love it. Yeah, I love it. Yeah,
it does. It's like, oh my God, this person's like, she knows the industry. She knows where she fits into it. She's not taking anything lightly. This is a serious gig. This is her livelihood, and she's going to make us money. I mean, I just think it's sexy. First of all, confidence is always sexy, right?
Well, also, Laura, the agent or manager who wasn't into that vibe or that energy, again, wouldn't have been your match.
Wouldn't have been my match anyway.
Because then you'd be like, okay, I guess they're good anyway, so I'll say yes. And then 3 months later, you become this person who to them seems like, who is this Laura who's now really loud and coming in, wants to meet with us all the time? Like, it wouldn't line up with who your personality is, that like, I am someone who shows up in this way. And I think that's so
right.
You have to reveal yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's all in the way you present it too. If it's like, I need a second meeting to see if you're right for me, obviously that's not attractive. It's more like, I forgot a few things that I wanted to ask you, and I really think you're fantastic. And can we have 10 minutes? Can you pop in for 10 minutes? Right? Just a little thing. I didn't need a whole they didn't need to know my inner child in the second meeting. You know what I mean? Right. So that's when people didn't respond. Wow. So all of a sudden I started, some of them did, and some of them didn't.
Yeah.
And I was like, ooh, I'm so glad I did that, because the ones that didn't respond, I was crazy about them too. And the fact that they didn't want to pop on for another 10 minutes, again, going back to, if they weren't crazy about me now, where are they going to be in 3 minutes, 3 months from now? You know what I mean? Like, to me, that was very transparent that I was just a transactional actor that they were they were probably getting for my new bookings that were coming, that were already probably on the table. So, and then, I personally wanted to have a female team.
Right.
That felt right for me.
Great. Wait, can everyone just hear that? I just love that when an actor knows what they want and can say, I'm going to stand up for it, because I think we're like scraps from the table too often. And, there's another actress, she's also on the podcast. Her name is Yvette. She went through the experience. She got like 8 meetings. She goes, no, none of those are right for me. And she turned them all down. They all give her offers. She goes, no, I'm doing it again. And she just wanted to do it again. She's like, I just knew they weren't right for her. And I was like, that is the kind of ballsy actor. Like, that should be normal. It shouldn't feel ballsy, but that was like, that's what I want you to feel, like that kind of empowered. Like, I have an intuition, and I can trust myself around this. So I just love that you say that out loud. Yeah.
Well, and also I just come from a male team. My team was all males. So I also wanted to investigate that, you know what I mean? I wanted to investigate what it was like to have a female team. And I've had female teams before. But not across the board. You know what I mean? And I really wanted to experience that. I feel really there's a shorthand, a safetiness for me. And I wanted to experience that. So, and I clicked with 2 amazing women who just have, changed my career. They get me. They reach for bigger things than I'm like, they're calling. Oh my God, I can't believe I just booked. I'm working next week on a show that I would have never thought to audition for as a character that I would have never thought. My rep was like, here you go. And it's like,
you can't tell us what show, can you? You can't tell us what show, can you?
No, I can't.
Oh, damn it. We'll find out.
But I mean, it's just so cool. He's an actor. That's like the biggest gift, to be able to play every socioeconomic level. You know what I mean? And just that's the fun part, right? In every genre, right?
Right.
So, so yeah, and
Awesome.
this, 2 months into booking, 2 months into getting this new team, I booked the patient. I booked a Fox show, a top of show guest, and it was on. And
Wow.
I can say honestly, at this point, it's been kind of continuous ever since.
That's
And I
awesome.
can thread it back to the reps.
Oh, I love that so much. Can you tell, if you had to identify one thing, specific part of Agent Goals that really helped you the most, what would you say it was?
Well, for me, it was getting over myself, my ego. I mean, I really thought maintaining an open mind.
Yeah.
Maintaining an open mind. It was really challenging for me. I didn't really, I didn't have a lot of faith. I felt really jaded, and I was a little gun shy that it was never going to happen for me. I was never going to have the reps that really understood me and that I feel so great about,
Yeah. I love you saying that, Laura, because it's, first of all, because I just appreciate your vulnerability around it, because also, like you said, I'm not 20 years old. I've been in the business for a minute, and there I can see myself say yes to, oh, it's just never going to be the way I imagined. It's never going to be the reps who really get me and are really putting me, like, my expectations have not been realistic. It's like
Right.
and you were, and that you were like, that this opened up something up, a new idea for you that said, no, I can say yes to this different way of doing things. I really appreciate you saying that. What did you learn the most about yourself? Was it that? Would you say that's the thing you learned the most?
Yeah, I think it was at that point that I really I feel like every year, kind of does this, where I get more confidence every year, by being in this business. But, it kind of gave me the confidence, that, sitting in my CEO voice, that this isn't, and we've had some things over the past year that, I've been able to voice where normally I wouldn't voice. Like, this is a problem. I really want to talk about this. This isn't working for me. This thing that's happened here, I need to fix. We need to fix it, because it's not making me feel good. I would never be able to say that before. I'd kind of pivot around it and
maybe it'll get better next time.
Well, and massage around it, probably get a little manipulative with it, and not really be honest. You know what I mean? And it's like, oh man, no.
Oh, I love that, Lord. That makes me so, at a deep level, that makes
That's
me feel,
huge, right?
Because that's a relationship. That's you being the person you really want to be, instead of being this other version of you. Were like, they kind of have a little bit of power, so I'm going to manipulate. I just love you saying that. It's so, I want to make sure everyone hears that. Yeah.
Yeah. And then also, no one ever gets to know. And I've had this before, in the past, I've let go of reps and they've walked away going, what? And over the years, I have to look at my part in that. My part was that I was never really honest with them. And so, that must have really been painful for them. I kind of just pulled the rug under the, rug from them, and I wasn't going to do that again. I'd done it too many times that and I, and so I really try and stay very authentic, and even if it's not pretty, we all want to be people pleasers. I mean, if you're in this business, you probably want to be loved in some way. It's all about that, right? I want to be loved. I want to be loved. So it's like, it bleeds into your business. It's like, that's not where you bleed into. No. So,
yeah. So Laura, can you, only because I think everyone's interested, and I know I'm personally, can you tell us a little bit about your experience shooting the patient with Steve Carell? And also I know you did a lot of character work in your process to prepare for this role. Do you mind sharing a little bit about that?
Well, this has been really a feather in my cap, because I came from rock and roll. I mean, I was a bass player in various different bands in my youth. And so
wait, stop, pause. I've stopped you again. My interview style is stopping you. That's what I'm saying. My new interview style is to tell people to stop talking, I guess, because that's what I'm doing this whole episode, because I want to make sure to miss this. Everyone, Laura is like a rocker chick. If you ever see videos of her in the band, like that, it is amazing. She looks so cool. I'm like, I aspire to be as cool as you look while you're doing this.
Oh my God.
And I think it's so interesting, because as we talk about this, we see, I can go out there and do this. And then here in the business, sometimes things get crunchier for me. And I've been really taking taking off some of that shell. I just love, we have these different sides to ourselves where ghosts can come up and get in the way of us really showing up. But I just think that's just a really great dynamic that you have. So take us back. Sorry, I know we're talking about the patient, but I just wanted to say that about you.
For years, I used to hide it as an actor because I was embarrassed that people wouldn't take me seriously as an actor. Because I was from rock and roll, because I was, in band. And now it's like, oh my God, are you kidding? It's part of my story. I wear it with pride. And so when this audition came in, it was a Reformed Jewish cantor. Mm-hmm. And the audition required me to play guitar and sing a song and also do the sides, right? Do the scenes. I was so in my element. And I have to tell the story because it's so true. I really feel like, so during the pandemic, I did this songwriting challenge, the self-imposed songwriting challenge, 30 days of songwriting. And I mean, there were times when I did it and I was like literally one note. I mean, I'm not a proficiento, people. Yeah. But just, I would make a little ditty, whatever. I was doing the artist's way.
Okay, great.
And so I had all these videos of myself recording these songs, and I'd spend all day. That's what I did with some of my pandemic. I'd spend all day writing a song and recording it. And then sometimes I'd be brave and put it up on Instagram, and sometimes I wouldn't. And, I did this for 30 days. And so by the time this audition came, I had dusted off my guitar, and so I had learned a song in Hebrew. I am Jewish. So it wasn't so far from me. Mm-hmm. And I put it down and I let go of it. And I've been really in that for the past couple of years now. It's just like I rip up the sides, right? Rip them up.
Yeah.
Soon as I did, everybody knows. Soon as that thing is laid down, rip, bye-bye, done.
Oh, I love it. Wait, ever could to steal that little advice right there.
Done,
that is a great
man.
one. Yeah.
It's done. It's done. And so, and then then I get on a plane to go this happened last year. I get on a plane for Christmas to go to Colorado. And as soon as I land, my manager calls and says, they want you to do these sides a different way. And they want to see you playing guitar more. And can you send us more tape?
And it's Christmas, just so it's like, it's holiday time, right? Yeah.
It's Christmas Eve. It's Christmas Eve. And so I'm like, I have none of my shit.
Yeah.
And so luckily, usually when I do auditions, I try different ways in doing it. You know what I mean? I'll make a 180 with some of the choices. I just tried different things. And so one of the things that they had asked for, I'd clocked that I had done it that way.
Wow.
And so I had it in my saved files. So I was able to send that. And then I was able to send a couple of my songs from the songwriting challenge. Wow. That were very true to the character. They were almost like kids songs or whatever, because she plays a cantor who teaches the kids music. Right. And so within 5 hours, I booked it, and I was so excited to work with Steve Carell. Oh my God, to work with a casting director who I absolutely adore, Jeannie Backrack, who I had been casting. I mean, these are the things that can get me choked up. You read for casting directors for 20 plus years for all the different shows on different lots when we would be in person for years and years and years. They've seen you grow and grow and grow. And then after all this time, you finally book with them and you think, thanks for staying around, man. Thanks for staying around. Thanks for being in my little fan club. And because I very much admire the work that you do, and so that was a real feather in my cap as well. And, it was shooting immediately. So then I got to the task of getting to work with, a music dramaturge, so to speak, a composer who was a cantor, and we got to learn all these Hebrew songs. And I mean, I got to play my guitar and then do the scene and work with Steve Carell, I was really excited. I mean, look, I think he's a really funny guy, but, and I've said this many times, I love his dramatic work. I love him as a dramatic actor. I just love him. He's got this everymanness about him that like I just adore. And so I was glad I got to work with him in this genre, you know?
Got it. Yeah.
And I'm a huge fan of the Americans, so it was like a huge get to be able to work with such incredible writers and just the caliber of actors that I got to work with is just it's always amazing.
That's awesome. I mean, it was,
So-
and everyone needs to watch the show if you haven't seen it already, because it is like, you can't stop binging.
It's dark.
It's impossible. It's dark
Yeah.
and you can't stop binging. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we know if there's season 2 yet? Do we know anything?
No, that's it. It's one and done. It was a limited series.
I was like ready. I was like, you can't leave me here. Oh my God.
I know. It's a limited series.
Oh God. I love it. So
yeah.
to kind of leave our listeners with a little bit of something, you know, for the actor who is listening and is, you know, questioning around reps or about their careers, anything you want to say to actors if you were like, if I put you on your bully pulpit here, would there be something you would want to them to say, either in terms of reaching out to reps that you think that actors need to hear? Especially, I guess what I'm saying is the actor who was where you were at the beginning of this process. The actor who was where you were at the very beginning of this process.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. You know, in my head, I was getting so precious with it. It had to be so precious. This was the biggest decision I was going to make, and you know, it's good to take these things. You know, these are decisions about your career. Of course, you want to take them seriously. But look, the bottom line is, if you try a rep and they don't work out, you know, you're going to know soon enough. You're taking a leap of faith.
No matter what.
You know, I mean, the truth is, I felt like these women I jived with, but I was still taking a leap of faith. I didn't know if in 3 months they would really get me. I don't know if they really understood me. You know, you meet with the rep for an hour. You know, you're lucky if you talk to them maybe, you know, 3 minutes a week or whatever it is. And you'd have to take that leap of faith, you know, that maybe they're gonna get you, and they're gonna, you know, they're gonna have that. They're going to know how to, you know, package you and whatnot. Right. But, you know, sometimes I can get really perfectionistic about this business. And it's like, look, I mean, the truth is we see through the people that were casting 10 years ago are now managers, and managers become casting directors, and you know, I know a casting director that went back to being an actor. You know, it's like, you know, it's to not be so precious with it, and to just, you know, yeah.
I love that you say that, because I think, you know, one thing we also try to, sometimes I think there's this, we want to not have to be vulnerable, and leap of faith is vulnerability, right? We want to, like, let me engineer all the ways that I can try to find the least amount of risk in this situation. If I reach out to only 10 people, then I'm only having 10 people saying no to me. If I'm asking for referrals, I'm only going to have one or two of those anyway. That we just try to get smaller and smaller and smaller. What I think that it does is it takes away I believe it takes away the power of the universe to have a voice at all, because we've taken out any degree of grace or something to be aligned for you to be attracted to someone else, for them to be attracted to you. And I'm using the word attracted. I think everybody knows I'm not talking about sexually or intimacy, right? Right. The magnetism that you can have there, that I think you write off. I'm going to take out the power of magnetism in this conversation, because I'm going to think really, really small. Also,
I think that one of the biggest takeaways for me is I learned from you to clock. As soon as I left every meeting, I'd clock how I felt.
Good.
How did I feel? How did I feel? Was I myself, or was I people pleasing? What was I doing? Did I truly say the things? I mean, you know, sometimes when you're in a conversation, you don't remember everything, but the feeling, you remember the feeling.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? And so trust that feeling, because that feeling is everything. Do you know what I mean? And just because someone looks good on paper and they're the type of reps, it's how you're going to be able to interact with them so that they can get to know you and be authentic. So you can be your authentic self.
Yeah. And I think let's be real. It is a lot to ask of a business relationship. I mean, I think that's true. That's why these are touchy, because it's a lot to ask of a business relationship, that you can understand who I am. And I'm okay to call you, and like, I'm in a shitty situation on set. They're trying to get me to do something I shouldn't. Right. We didn't say my contract. Like, you have to be able to back and like fight for me in the real, like, it's a tricky moment. So
we don't work for IBM. I mean, you know, these are all creative people. Creative people have lots of different egos. So, you know, it's, you know, that, you know, it's, you know, that going in, you know, you just, you have to know that because that's this business, you know?
Yeah. Laura, I want to thank you so much for today's conversation. I
adore you so much.
I adore you too. And I want to say one more thing about Laura Olivia that I think is so cool is, you know, you talk about how I've been in the business for a while and how it became a thing that could have been an obstacle to saying yes to this new way of reaching out to reps, because I know enough about this business. I've been around here, and it became one of the ways you actually learned is by using, you didn't know you were using that tool, but you were using that tool. But also, even so, your willingness to say, well, I'm going to listen to this new way of doing things. I'm going to write down how I feel after these meetings. And I say that not to toot the horn of Agent Goals, but I say that for me and my work as a non-denominational reverend, or my belief in the spiritual world is when your ability to change your mind, or when you change your mind, that is a miracle. Our shift in perspective is the definition of a miracle to me. And so your willingness to shift around these things, even the tiny ones that you're doing home alone when you're sitting in front of your computer and like, this asshole just told me to do this, fuck him. And you're like, okay, I'll try it. Like that whole, each one of those, I think is, you know, just aligning that much more with what's intended for you. And so I just appreciate you, honestly sharing about your experience doing that. So that means a lot to me. As in the work.
Well, and I will be honest that I was in a lucky seat in that I had proof from previous years of working with you that I had proof that things happen around you that are pretty special. Oh, so
maybe something like a genie in a bottle there. I'll take it. I love it. I love it.
Buddy, you have been. For me, you really have been. It's very true. So, and I know you have for a lot of people. So, you know, I'm forever grateful for you on so many levels.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And thank you for today. And everyone, we will link to, Laura, should we link to your Twitters? Or no, I'm sorry, no one does Twitter anymore. Goodbye, Twitter. Should we link to your, should we link to your Instagram so people can keep in touch with you?
Sure, yes.
Great. You want to say what it is out loud for everybody?
It's Laura Niemi. Instagram /Laura Niemi.
And Niemi, if you're
Niemi, yeah.
And we'll link to that in the show notes. We'll also link to the episodes that I mentioned. All right. Thank you so much, Laura. We'll have to have you on again. Take care.